Hi, this is Molly with Molly Q Creates and StarryNightCreations.com. Just wanted to pop in and do a little live and show you how to create this bunny card using the Pull and Pop die set from Lawn Fawn. So to get started, I'm just going to show you the products that we're using. This is the cloud background stencil from Lawn Fawn. It's a 2-piece stencil set. So we're going to do that to add a little bit of the detail on the sky. The sky is just a plain blue, so it just adds that little touch of detail without detracting from the card. Then we have the Pull and Pop pieces, the die, and I do have everything pre-cut, and I will show you how to cut out the pieces. And then we have the small stitched rectangle stackables from Lawn Fawn. So that creates this stitched edge around the border. Also the Slimline stitched Hillside borders. So these are 4 separate pieces. You cut them apart and you just put them across a piece. And so that's what creates this these little sloped pieces for the background grass. And I will show you how I cut those out. And then this is the Springtime Bunny die from Lawn Fawn. It came out last year and it's so adorable. It's all die cut and you just piece them together. Finally, when I did the sample the other night, I used liquid glue and kind of got some smudges on it. And so you might not be able to notice, which is good, but it has a little like the glue spots. I tried to get as much off with a sand eraser, but this time I'm going to use these adhesive sheets. So you put that directly on the paper, die cut it, and then you can just peel them off and stick the pieces down. So I'm going to try that. So to get started, we are going to work on the background because I used a white unicorn pigment ink. So that does take longer to dry. And now on this piece, so this is the stitched rectangle. Cut this piece out with the largest of the small stitch rectangles so that I have the fun stitch border. And now right here, you can see it has the 2 slits. And that is from, this is the Pull and Pop die set. So this piece here, you can arrange this anywhere on your paper, but this is going to be for the pull mechanism. And so you see how it has the arrow pointing down. You want that pointed towards the bottom of your paper. And you place it where you want it. And then I used the Post-it tape. Just kind of hold it in place and ran it through the die cut machine. And then I got the 2 slits. So just a few things to note about it is the bottom slit is smaller than the top slit. And like I said, it has the arrow. So you know which side to point down. You can also use this on Slimline cards. This is the pull mechanism. And as you can see, there is quite a bit of length. So we will be cutting it off for this card. But that does mean you have a lot of flexibility as to where you put it on your card. Okay, so I'm just going to start with these. And you want to make sure that the writing, it has Lawn Fawn etched in it, is facing you and upright on both of them. And now you can do one stencil or both, and you can also do them in different colors. It's super cute. But I'm just going to place this one, and just for ease of alignment with the next one, I'm going to place it along the top edge. And I'm going to tape down. I'm going to tape down my paper. Now, because I have the grass down here, I don't need to color in clouds down here. So I'm just going to use this area to tape it down. And then place the stencil. And one thing you can see on the stencil, it might be a little bit hard on the video, but there is an etching of where the other die lines up. So on one stencil, you see where it's going to overlap the other stencil. All right, so let's get this lined up. I'm going to tape this one down. And I'm using the Unicorn Pigment ink from Hero Hues and a blender brush. And so I'm just going to go in circles over the clouds, and you know, my tape is not overly sticky, so I'm just making sure I'm holding it down as I go. And I'm going to go over each cloud a couple times, layer it and get a little bit whiter. Let's see. It's kind of shifting on me, but just going to go over these one more time. With that little piece that's right off the edge. Get these two top ones one more time, and so there is one of them. And I'm just going to peel off the tape pieces so I can reuse them. But I'm going to set this aside to dry a little bit, and we're going to assemble the bunny. Kind of just giving it a little bit of time to dry before I put in the next one. And I'm working on a glass mat, so I can just wipe it off. Okay, so for the bunny, I'm just going to dry that quick with a paper towel. Okay, so now for the bunny. So this cuts in two pieces. You have the outline and then the die with the detail. So this piece is from the outline. And then this one is the one cut with the detail. And so I'm just going to pop out these pieces. And now one of the things with this die, like I said, last time when I did the sample, I used glue, and I love liquid glue. It works well. But especially with white and lighter colored, you do see when you get smudges, and then if you have any dirt on your hands. So I did put this adhesive sheet. And so when you do this, you take your piece of paper, and now these sheets are 6 by 12, so you can literally put it on half of a sheet of paper, of 12 by 12 paper. I usually just cut it into sections based on how much I need. So here's a section of it. Now I'm just going to, so I want to cut a piece for this, so I'm just going to roughly cut it, and then you peel off one side. So this is the tricky part. So you peel off the backer, and now you have the sticky side, and you put it down on whatever side you want to be the bottom. So now you can put your dies right on here, die cut it, and then when you get to this point, you just need to peel it off. This is the tricky part, so I'm just going to use a piercing tool to kind of get it out of the way, or at least get it started. And then I'm going to align these two together. Okay, so now I have the outline done. So now for the face, Sometimes I can peel it back just by kind of flicking at the corner. Okay, there. So I'm just going to fill this in, and I just did, and it's going to be a little bit harder to see, I just did a white outline. On the sample that they actually did a black outline, and it's super cute. Really shows off the detail. All right, so now for the legs, or I should say the body, again, just peeling off that backer and sliding him in place. And you can see with die cuts, especially intricate die cuts, this is a lot easier than using glue. You're just peeling off the piece. With these ears, I need to be a little bit careful. The tail I did in pink, if I can find it. The tail might have to go in as white. Oh, no, here it is. It's in the Easter egg pile. The smaller the piece, the harder it is to get the little piece of backer off. So the piercing tool does come in very handy. Then I'm just going to fill the tail in. And then you just press it down. And let's see, this piece will go in that ear. And then this piece will fill in that ear. Okay, and then I have the 2 feet pieces left. Okay, there's that one, and the other foot. So you see how nice and easy that was with those adhesive sheets? Okay, so now we have the 2 ears. And these, you can tell they kind of have like a flatter edge and a pointed edge. The flatter side will go towards the head. Let's just see which one, this one fits in here. And then we have the other ear. Okay, so we are down to, make sure that fits in there. So now we are down to the eyes. Let me move those pieces out of the way. Now for the eyes, I am going to use glue. I'm just going to put a little dab of liquid glue in each of the holes. And I'm going to try to pick them up with a piercing tool and just place them in there. And of course, one went in fine and the other one is not going to go in willingly. So I'm just going to slide it in there. And same thing for the mouth and nose. Now on this die, it cuts out together the mouth and nose. However, there is a separate die for the nose. So now that we have the black, I did cut the nose out separately in pink. And I did use that adhesive sheet. So let's see if this will now stay in place. So we'll have a little bit of a black shadow, which is fine. And it also like raises it up a little bit to give it a little bit more depth. So there's the bunny. Okay, so now we are going to go back to the clouds. And I'm going to take the second stencil. And I'm going to align it with the top. And you can see how, see if you can see this, where there is an indent. It's kind of engraved on the stencil. I'm going to align that with the clouds that I put on there already. And then tape everything down. And I'm just going to also make sure that I am holding it as I work. And again, same thing. I'm just going over the clouds with the white. I have seen these done with the stencil with like a pink and a blue, and that's really cute together as they overlap. And I'm not worried about anything down here because I have the grass that's going to cover that up. I might as well get this one though. And with a blending brush, it's fairly simple. You just kind of rub it around in your ink pad and then go over each cloud. And again, I'm going to layer the ink and go over them at least 2, if not 3 times. Okay. Set that aside and slowly peel this up. And now we have the cloud background. And like I said, it's not very bright, which is fine. I just wanted it to be subtle. I just wanted it to kind of fill in the back and give a little bit of accent to it. So we're going to set that aside. I'm just going to grab another wet wipe to wipe this off. And then we are going to assemble the Easter eggs. And once the Easter eggs are done, then we can assemble the card. Okay, so the Easter eggs come in 3 shapes. You get 3 dies for them. You get the background, and then you get one with stripes and one with a zigzag pattern. So I just cut them out of a couple sheets of paper. And we are just going to make a few color combinations here. For these, I am just using the liquid glue, but I'm going to grab my tweezers. So we'll start with this peachy one. And the nice thing about the liquid glue is you do get a little bit of slide so you can align it and a little bit of dry time. So we're just going to put a couple of these outlines on and then fill them in. And these are actually just cute as is. And then do a green one. And let's see. Do this blue zigzag. And the fun thing about these Easter eggs, you just cut a bunch of them and then you can just mix and match the papers that you have. And, I should say you can mix and match between the ones that you've cut out. Let's do a yellow. If you've not worked with tweezers, I'm out of stock on them right now, but the shipment is coming shortly. These are really nice reverse grip. So you just push in, it'll hold it in place. The other thing that you can do with it is when you're trying to get stuff to hold together, you can just clamp it together with a tweezer. And let's do one more zigzag to even it out. We'll do a peach zigzag. And I have one more, but I don't think I need it, so I'm just going to set that one aside. And then we will start filling in with green. Let's do the green with the peach. And then let's do kind of put a little bit of glue right in there. Add the blue. The cardstock I'm working with is Color Vibes from Simple Stories. And now with this, I'm using the solid side on all of them. If you can see, it has a polka dot pattern, and I'll show you that as we assemble the card, because we will be using the polka dot side on the card. And I should have a green top. Okay, so there's one egg. And this one we're just going to do pink. Do the pink and blue. And I know it's way too much glue on there, so we're just going to set it in there. Get the zigzag. And that is why I used the adhesive sheets on the bunny, because I was getting a lot of smudge marks on the white, and it really showed up on the white. On the colors, it doesn't show up as much. So let's do a peach with, I don't know why I keep getting so much glue on there. Let's do the yellow. It's the bottom piece. And the top piece, and then let's get the green in there. So 3 down, 3 to go. We can do the blue with the, and with the liquid glue, you don't need to cover every inch of it. There's the bottom green. So it's kind of like a game of a matching game. Okay, now we're going to slide the peach stripe. All right, almost done. 2 more to go. I'm just going to fill in some glue. And grab what's handy. There's peach. And then peach in the bottom. And mix that with blue. And the blue stripe. And then the last egg. Just filling those in with some glue, and then we will add, what do I have left? Yellow. It's that piece, and we will do this one a little bit differently and put the yellow stripes in the middle. And did I use the pink yet? No, I should have pink. There's pink. And another pink is right there. All right, so now I have the Easter eggs and the Easter bunny done. So let me just slide that out of the way. And that piece. All right, so now for this card. Okay, so the first thing is this piece. So on here, and I know you won't be able to see this through the camera, but there are two score lines, one right here and one right in the middle of this T, this wide part. The easiest way to score this or to fold it is to lay a ruler down right on the score line or just slightly below it. So you hold that down as you fold this, so you start to make your fold. So now fold this down, and you just want the pieces to align. You don't want it to be off kilter like that. You just want everything to line up, and this wing piece will fold exactly in half. Then you take the other score line and you fold it back. So now you have a Z fold. And it does help to take a bone folder and make sure these are scored well. Okay, so now I'm going to take the background piece. And I had shown you earlier, and I'm just going to grab that die set one more time. Probably right in front of me because I know it could have gone far. Okay, so these are the dies you get with the pull and pop. So it's the mechanism. It's not any of the other, like the background or anything. But you get the mechanisms for this pull and pop. This die here was what I just worked on. It cuts out this piece. Don't worry about the length of this. We will cut it and adjust it to the card, but they did make it a lot longer so that you can move it around on your card. This piece is the one that you center where you want the mechanism to go, and then you run it through the die cut machine to make those slits. So now that you have this mechanism, go to the back of the card and slide it through. And then you take the top piece and slide it through the top fold. Now you see here it has these two little wing pieces. You slide those through. So this big one stays on the back. The little one goes through. Okay. So now you want this. So this winged area is just flush with the top of the slit. And then you're going to take this piece, which was cut from this one. This one has two score lines. Now, because I'm using the color-vised paper, one side is dotted, one side is solid. I want the solid side up. So I just have to think about how I'm doing this. Okay, so I want this side folded back. Again, it's going to be a Z. This side folded forward. And then this piece will get attached right here. So you want it above the slit. You just want a hairline space between the slit and where this piece goes. And you want the foot of it, hold that flush, put this down so it's just about with the top of it, fold it down with this tab going back. So this tab you want the tab here, fold it down, and then you fold this back. Now you put adhesive on the tab. And then, okay, so you try to get adhesive on the tab. Okay, so now I have adhesive just on this little flat part. Have that pushed up so it's even with the hole. Bring this piece down and then fold that back on it. So now you can pull it and it's going to move. Okay, now once you get to this point, it's a little bit flimsy. So to give it a little extra support, you can cut a piece the same size as this. I actually cut it just a hairline smaller to make it match up easier. However, on this card, I did this white border. I like the white border. I didn't like the blue on the blue. So I'm just going to attach it directly to this piece, which is cut slightly bigger. And when I put adhesive on here, I want adhesive. I want to make sure that mechanism is in place. But then I put adhesive up here and down here, but not across this middle section. So you need to give the mechanism some room to move. Okay, so across the top and across the bottom. And now I'm going to center this on the white so that there's a little bit of a border on each side. Okay, so now it has a little bit more support, and you can just always want to kind of test it and play with it. Okay, so now we are going to glue this onto the background piece. And this one, I'm using the dotted side to give it a little bit more, just a little bit more texture and pattern. And now with this piece, when I'm gluing it down, you can put adhesive over the whole backside. And then center that on the card base. Okay. Now, one thing that when I was designing one of these cards, again, I always like want to play with it and make sure that I didn't get anything down too tight so it doesn't move. Now, when designing these cards, you want to design something like here it's a grass, you can do clouds, but you want something to cover up the mechanism, because the beauty of the interactive cards is that you hide the mechanism so you don't really, it's not as obvious as to how it works. I'm going to show you how I cut this grass. So first of all, I just cut smaller chunks of paper using the stitched border, but then I have the stitched hillside. And one of the wonderful things about Lawn Fawn dies is that they create them to build on each other. So for instance, this is a separate one, but here is the picket fence that follows the hillside. So you want this, you want the solid line, the cutting line up, and then the stitch line. And I'm going to kind of gauge this. I'm going to do 2 of them, and I want them to make sure that they cover that mechanism and kind of overlap. So I'm going to do this one here, maybe down a little bit. And I'm just going to tape that down. I'm going to grab my die cut machine. This probably is not going to be very good view of it. So I apologize, but I'll make this quick. But I just wanted to show you that with these dies, you just kind of stick it on the paper, and then you can cut it at any depth or length that you want. But it's going to give you that fun edge. So now we have one of the hillsides that will go on the card. And then I just want to make sure that the other one is going to kind of come down here to cover up. See, and this is what I mean by covering up the mechanism. Like, you don't want this part to be showing. So let me find my other piece of green, which could be anywhere around here. And okay, so now that I have this one's actually going to go under it. I didn't really need to cut the bottom of this, but I just wanted to have it, the stitch sides is what I was more concerned about. Again, on this, you want to make sure that the solid line is up. And I'm going to do this one like kind of like way over in here. Actually, I can move it down. Okay. Get that out of the way and cut this one, and then we're close to being done with the card. Let's get this out of the way. All right. So I can actually do this one of 2 ways. I can have this kind of coming up here, or I can do kind of like my original plan and having there. I think I like that one a little bit better. So I just wanted the 2 to kind of overlap. And what I'm going to do is just put adhesive across the bottom edge of this. Get this one back in place. Okay, but before I adhere that down, I did not adhere that down. We need to strengthen this piece. So this die cuts another tab pull. I cut in the same color. You could certainly do it another color to highlight it. The other piece I want to mention in this die set is this tab piece. And what you could do is lay it over your card and it will cut out a tab so that it's easier to see where the pull is. But on this one, we're just going to leave it hang down even with the bottom edge. Okay, so for starters, I want this piece in here flush. Like, I want this little T piece flush against the top edge. I want everything flat. Now I'm going to take scissors and cut this flush with the bottom. Don't want to cut off the bottom edge, but I just want it to be pretty close to being with the bottom. And as you can see, this one has the finished edge, so it doesn't need to be quite finished. So when you pull it, okay, so now with this one, obviously that one's too big. So what I want to do is pull this down, and I just kind of want to estimate. So I just have it holding next to it, and the section of the card between the two slits, I'm going to cut this about in the middle. Okay. So now on this piece, I'm going to pull this down, and on the back of this piece, I'm going to add some adhesive. And then kind of just like wiggle and maneuver this in the slit. And this is kind of where it'd be helpful to have a third hand, but just loosen that up. And slide that in there. And you just want it to be pretty much flush with the bottom of that tab, so that when the card is closed, you have those two together. Okay, so now your pull is stronger. Okay, so now we have the pull, we have the mechanism, we put our grass together. So let's put the grass down. And now with the grass, obviously you have the mechanism here. And this is the other reason why you want to make sure you cover this up, is that you don't have this hanging there and that people see that. So when we're gluing this down, you only want glue on both sides of it. You don't want it in this middle section. So I'm going to add the glue, the tape runner, on both edges. And then align it with the bottom. Make sure that piece is out. Like I said, always make sure you can use it. Now, another error that I made on this card is I always forget about gravity and how it holds it, pulls it down. If you have a piece that's smaller than this, you can also do, I've seen cards with like a full base that it lifts up. But if you have something smaller, you can cut this piece so it doesn't show through. But with the bunny, I'm going to just move the bunny down a little bit. On here, I got it right. You can see that right towards the bottom of it. I'm going to put it more towards the middle this time. And I'm just going to use some liquid glue. Make sure he stays on there well. Kind of want his head to hide that little T-bar, so then I guess he is getting farther up. Kind of place somewhere in the middle, but he is farther up than the one I did yesterday. All right, so now we have the bunny that pops off the card. Okay, and then just finish it with some Easter eggs. And again, I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid adhesive behind each one, and kind of get these aligned, just kind of scatter them about. And then let's see, what kind of pattern do I want? Yeah, maybe something like, just trying to mix up the colors a little bit. These last couple ones glued down. Whoops. Good thing this is going to dry clear. I'll wipe that off. And there you go. Happy Easter. And then the only thing left is to glue it down to the card base. Do that quick, and then we are done. And always make sure that your card is folding and opening in the proper direction before you adhere anything down. And there. You can see the subtle clouds in the background, the colorful Easter eggs. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this.